Think forward. Think Research Channel.
The reason that I thought it actually made a little bit of sense for me to be here is because of a discovery we kind of made as we were talking to people about why they played games and what it was that they enjoyed about games. And what we think we learned is that people don't particularly enjoy being educated, but they do enjoy learning. And learning is actually a pretty powerful part of the attraction of video games. And it's kind of subtle. It's not one of the things we actually advertise. You're going to learn something. But we find that the reason people keep playing games, that they play again, that they come back and play a game repeatedly, is because they feel they're improving. They feel they can do better next time. They want to try the next difficulty level. These are kind of all really indications that there's some learning going on. There's some challenge being met. There's some improvement paths that the player is on that is motivating them and compelling them to keep playing. So in that sense, the idea of learning, getting better, developing more skills is actually a very powerful part of why video games and computer entertainment is appealing to people. So that's what we kind of discovered is if it's presented in a way that's fun, that's entertaining, that really kind of rewards the player, encourages the player, and empowers the player in a lot of ways, that learning can be a very essential component of games. And that idea of empowering, I think, is also key to what makes games fun. The player feels that they are in charge of what's going on. They determine winning or losing. They make the key decisions that determine the course of the game and the outcome of the game. So when you give the player that power, and it's their game to win or lose and to play, it makes the learning more important because the better you become at the game, the more you learn, the more likely you are to win the game. So what I'd like to do to kind of reinforce some of these ideas and go into a little more detail is show you a little bit of our latest version of Civilization, which actually hasn't been released yet, but will be coming out in about a month. It's called Civilization Revolution. It's available on the Xbox 360, the PlayStation 3, and the Nintendo DS. Little plug there. I think I just want to talk about some of the ways in which we make learning fun, make learning essential, make learning an experience that the player really enjoys. Because we are actually asking people to pay money to go through this learning experience. So we need to make the experience fun and entertaining. And let me talk about a few ways that we do that. So that's the first thing the player sees when they put the disc in the machine and boot it up. And what we found is that creating a sense of anticipation, a sense of what is yet to come, is very powerful in drawing players into to continue to play. I don't know if there's a way to maybe bring the sound down a little bit on the game, and I don't know if these lights can come down, but that would all be good stuff. So my talk is entitled "Help! I Can't Stop Learning," and what that relates to is there's a phenomenon that people have associated with games like Civilization, which is the one more turn phenomenon. That people just can't stop playing the game. They always want to see what's going to happen on the next turn. What's the next thing that's going to happen? And the way that's created is by having a number of kind of separate paths that the player is kind of always looking forward to, the next technology that they're going to discover, the next great leader they're going to meet, the next wonder they're going to build. So the player's not just playing in the present. The player's mind is kind of constantly moving forward to what's going to happen next and anticipating that and kind of wanting to play just that one more turn until that next cool thing happens. And what this introductory movie does is really kind of lay out all these cool things that are going to happen later in the game. So you kind of are looking forward with anticipation to those things happening. So even if this might be a momentary boring spot in the game that you're at right now, you're still kind of looking forward to the cool stuff that's going to happen later. And I think there are applications of that to learning, to kind of lay out the big picture of, you know, where are we going with this this course, this lesson, this, you know, what we're tackling here, not just what's today's lesson, but, you know, what's going to happen next. How does this fit into some big picture that means something to me? And we'll see some examples as we go through some parts of the game of how we're continually trying to create this sense of anticipation, looking forward to what's going to be happening next. So we'll start the game here.
Namaste, Corachura.
Librare. Monjoie.
Okay, this is entertainment. We can never let the player even imagine that they're being educated, that they're learning anything. The key is to keep them having fun the entire time. So these great leaders that you have a chance to play are animated. They're brought to life. And I think it's key in any kind of any kind of learning situation to keep the kind of production values, keep the level of the presentation as high as possible, because people are used to being, you know, seeing this kind of stuff. So if something doesn't look too cool or isn't, you know, doesn't have those kind of production values, people start to turn off. So whatever can be done to kind of make the visuals interesting, colorful, I think is just what people expect these days in terms of being fed information when you go to the internet or places like this. So, and we're already trying to introduce a few little educational ideas. Each civilization has specific advantages that are unique to that civilization and kind of represent historically what was cool about those different civilizations. They're all positive things. It's another thing that kind of is, I think, important in gaming and learning, is that you're really going from one positive to the next, from one reward to the next, from one achievement to the next. It might take you a little longer or not quite as long, but we're always encouraging the player. It's always, here's the cool thing you just did, and here's the next cool thing that you can do. We'll choose, I guess we'll choose the Chinese thing. We don't waste any time here. A few tips while we're loading the game, again, to give the player some anticipation of what's going to happen next.
We stand at the beginning of a new age. Our people have forsaken the nomadic ways of their fathers and have settled in a city. They look to you to guide them into the uncertain future. My liege, I believe that if we wish to survive, we must make our city strong and prosperous. And once we have grown, we must send settlers to build even more cities across the land. Cities are indeed the most powerful of all human creations. For it is only within cities that we can create the mighty armies needed to defend ourselves and to bring defeat to our foes. My liege, our fate is in your hands. Will we be a warlike people, striking fear into the hearts of other nations? Will we be peaceful and cultured, an advanced nation of philosophers and artists? Or will our wise men and scientists chart a course that will bring us into a glorious future of astounding science and unimagined technology? What will the future hold for us? Will we be yet another forgotten people, a mere footnote in the annals of history? Or will you prove to be the greatest ruler the world has ever known and build for us a civilization for the ages, a civilization to stand the test of time? My liege,
Of course, we're going to be the greatest civilization of all time,
our
right?
people await your orders.
Again, we're setting the stage. We're looking forward to. Okay, we haven't done anything yet, but already we have an idea of all the cool stuff that might happen later in this game. We've seen spaceships being launched. We've seen great cities being built. So we're kind of primed. We're ready. We're looking forward to playing this game. Here, again, this is the first time we're playing. There's a tutorial. Let me just back up 1 second. One of the things that was said during that little intro was, it's up to you. The future is in your hands. And again, that's I think it's a key part of the appeal of this kind of learning, is that it's at your own pace. It's at your own. It follows your own interest. And the challenge has been laid out there. I mean, will you create the greatest civilization of all time, or will you be consigned to the dust heap of history? That. I'm motivated now. I want to get going here. So we've kind of created in the player this receptiveness, I think, to learning what this game has to show us, to reveal to us, and wanting to be good at it. A tutorial. This is our tutorial guy here, Professor Tutorial. We found that people don't want to kind of go off into a separate learning area. Kind of spend a little time there before they play. They want to start playing right away. The learning area is for other people. They're too smart, too brilliant to go over there. They want to go right into the game. So we build the tutorial right into the game. You're playing, but you've got this guy here. He's a little goofy, so you can take his advice if you want. You don't have to, but he's there to kind of help you out and indicate what things are important. Kind of just get you started. And the other thing I think we've done at the beginning is elevate you into this role of king or great leader. One of the great things about computer games and entertainment is they allow you to be people that you probably don't have the chance to be in real life. They allow you to go to places that you probably wouldn't go in real life. They allow you to go to times that probably aren't available to you without your time travel machine. So that, again, is a kind of a compelling thing, that I'm not going to be the person I am in real life. I'm going to be the leader of a great civilization. Again, I'm kind of motivated and receptive to see what this experience has to offer. So now we start to get into the mechanics of the game. We've built a city, we've got some workers growing food, and we're still keeping that idea that the player can kind of unravel the game at their own speed, at their own pace. If I want to learn more about food or production, I can ask to do that. But I'm not kind of being fed information bite after information bite after information bite. I want to know a little bit about food. Another concept here is the concept of icons. Visual, graphic icons are a really powerful way to kind of burn a concept into the player's brain. The next time the player sees that apple, they will associate it with food. The apple can be used in many different places in the game to kind of tie together the idea of food. So icons are just a really concise and powerful way of kind of really saying this concept is important. You'll see it again. You might want to remember that. Excellent. Okay, we probably had enough of the tutorial. You want to do something here? Okay, thank you. So he said, you know, we've got a unit. Let's move them around to explore. Friendly village. Again, all the game concepts are being, you know, we're the first time we see them, he kind of tells us what to do. From then on, it's going to be up to us how we want to proceed. So here's a friendly village. They're singing the happy song from Civilization 4. If any of you want to sing along, that'd be fine. So now this is one of the... We're trying to keep you entertained as we introduce these ideas. So he said technology is an important concept in the game. And here we get to make our first decision. Which technology do we want to research? Is it alphabet, bronze working, horseback riding, pottery, or we're not sure. We're playing the first time. Let's consult the tech planner. So, wow, this game is pretty cool. Look at all this stuff I get to discover. It's like nuclear power, electricity. Wow. And every technology gives me access to some cool stuff. Whether it's a new unit, a new building. Wow, this technology is really interesting. This whole history of the world is pretty interesting, you know? Wow, you're right. I think I'm still not sure. Even after seeing this technology planner, I'm going to go into the Civilopedia. The Civilopedia. That is a word that we invented. So don't try and use it yourself. I'm going to go into the Civilopedia and see what bronze working is all about. Again, we're not being educated here. We are planning our strategy. We are going to master this game and conquer the world. So bronze working, okay. We have not discovered it yet. Here's a cool little movie about some bronze working happening. There's bronze working. And what we actually wanted to do here was actually put in links, internet links to the Wikipedia or places where there's even more information. Unfortunately, that wasn't possible because of Microsoft's concern about people ending up in the wrong place. But you can see how this idea of kind of layers, of digging deeper, you know, again, it's all under the player's control how much they want to learn. But we've given them motivation to find out more about bronze working or pottery or whatever the subject is. And again, trying to present it in somewhat of an interesting way. You know, there's a movie, there's a picture, there's kind of some background information, some game-specific information, what bronze working does for you. You know, lets you build an archer unit in a barracks and things like that. So these concepts become very familiar to you as you play the game. And we've heard anecdotal stories about, you know, people who've played these games perhaps too much, but find that they know amazing things. There was a student that was learning the history of the Caribbean, and this student knew every island and every city in the Caribbean because they just played tons of a game called Pirates, which is set in the Caribbean. And so this information sticks with people. They're associated with this game experience, and it makes sense to them, and they need to understand the connection of things to play the game, and that's interesting, worthwhile information for them to have in their real life. So that's the Civilopedia, and again, it's available for any of the topics in the game. For example, these are the different technologies, but if we wanted to learn about the different units in the game, we could dig down into the Civilopedia. Again, it's giving us some basic information that we need to know to play the game. We don't have any archers right now. Some multimedia. Multimedia is 21st century, cool. Probably a Monty Python guy. I'm not sure exactly, but So anyway, this is, again, we're walking this fine line between entertaining the player, keeping them in the mindset of playing the game, but still presenting them with kind of real world information that has value to them. And the other thing that we find is that by using concepts that the players already understand, like the idea of bronze working or electricity or gunpowder or nuclear power, they feel at home in this world right away. They don't need to read a manual about, is a wizard better than a unicorn or things like that. This is a world that they're already kind of familiar with. And if a player succeeds using their own knowledge, that's even more rewarding for the player to say, I'm glad I stayed awake that day in history class, and that really helped me win this game. So that if a player succeeds using their own knowledge as opposed to something that we've told them to do, that's an even more compelling and rewarding experience. So by using a lot of really familiar concepts like the technologies and real leaders, real military units and things like that, again, it just makes the experience that much more real and rewarding for the player. So the other thing that is kind of laid out here is this whole idea of multiple paths to the end. I mean, if you notice, alphabet, kind of a maybe friendly, scientifically oriented technology. Bronze working, it's actually a military technology. Pottery is kind of a cultural technology. So we're already creating this idea in the player's mind of these different paths that they can go down. And the other idea that we want to plant in their mind is kind of like the next time I play this game, I'm gonna try that other path. I'm gonna go. Everybody kind of goes military first for some reason. But next time I might try that scientific path, or I might try that cultural path, or knowing it's available, even maybe halfway through the game. This isn't working out so well for me. I might try this other path. So the whole idea of replayability and trying different paths and having interesting options turns this from a 2 or 3 hour experience to a 50 to 100 hour experience, because there are all these different ways of playing, and that really, for us, creates value. For the player, creates value in what we make, but it also, makes this really a better product. So we'll visit these friendly villagers here. I'll just point out quickly, the interface. It's key that the interface feel natural. It's just a fundamental rule of any sort of interactive technology, is that if the player's thinking more about what to press and how to press it as opposed to the world you're trying to create for them, then you've lost them and they will be gone shortly. So fortunately, there's a lot of conventions that are part of the whole interactive world, and this idea of cursors and arrows is kind of one of them. So the first thing most players do when they get a new game is push every button just to see what it does. So something should happen kind of to reveal what each button does, etc. So as I move the cursor around, I get the idea that I can move this guy. I get the idea that he can't move there. This may seem obvious, but if it's not obvious to the player, if it's not simple and clear, again, you've kind of lost the player. They're thinking about something else. So we'll visit this. So we've gotten a reward here. We've gotten a spy unit for visiting this city. They're also telling us that they've been bothered by this barbarian village over here. So again, we're foreshadowing. We're leading you to think deeper into the game. What can I do next? These poor villagers. Actually, I'm not sure I can get there, but I can be a nice person and give them some help with that barbarian village. Again, we're suggesting a couple of things that you might want to think about doing. One of the characteristics of this game, and many other games of this style, is that they start off actually fairly small and self-contained. You can see that as we move, we're revealing portions of the world, but we really only, so far, we're only looking at a very small part of the world. That we want to make it really easy to start playing. They introduce you to only a few concepts to start with. and then gradually kind of reveal the depth as you go. I think it would be bad to present you with a ton of ideas right at the beginning of the game. Here he's helping us with. Thank you. So we've got to explain the interface a little bit to us. Again, it kind of goes back to the pushing every button idea. Players will kind of push this button and see that it switches between different units. Again, just kind of becoming comfortable with the control system of the game. We're not. These are the barbarians here up here. Different climates have actually different barbarians. I'm going to bring this warrior over to help. Again, the numbers indicate how long it's going to take this particular unit to get to where they're going. The more information we can present to the player, the more clear we can make things, the better. Again, we're considering dealing with these barbarians. And again, we get basic information about what our chances of success are, etc. We're looking forward. Oh, this is like, I've got 2 attack points, they've got half a defense point. I'm anticipating. This is a good idea. I'm doing some math here. Notice the barbarians they have a 1-point defense strength, but they have 50% taken away because they're uncivilized. In another game called Uncivilization, they might have an advantage. But here it's a disadvantage to be uncivilized. We want to make sure we know what side we're on here. All right, we're going to go in. Do that in just a second. So we've captured the. Okay, he's telling us about another village they have. We've captured the village, and now we receive a ship. So again, we're kind of gradually revealing the different layers and options and possibilities of this game in a way that there's always something fun or interesting or entertaining to do. The characters are entertaining. Frankly, combat, most people, whether they admit it or not, enjoy that part of the game. And we're setting up this whole civilized versus uncivilized thing that where civilized is good, uncivilized is not so good. And that kind of drives us forward, pushes us forward into anticipating where the end of the game might be. Hoping to run into another great leader here. This may take a moment or two. There's another barbarian here. Okay, so the artist had a lot of fun with this character, obviously. And one thing that we actually try and do is have fun as we're making the games, because a lot of that shows through in the final product, and we're trying to create the fun that leads you into the depth and the learning of the game. So the artist had a great time with this Kronos character. So we're running a little low on time. I want to leave a little time for questions, but when we do run into the other great kings, they kind of appear in that same style. They pop up in the corner of the screen. Kind of what they're saying will appear there as you consider the various options of what you're going to say. They'll actually respond to them. If if you're looking at the let's make peace, they'll smile. If you choose like one of the warlike options, they'll react and kind of angrily. We're just wanting to draw you into that character that we're inviting you to be. We're drawing you into that leader character. That's really the the payoff and the reward and the interest of this game, is to see what it's like to feel that you've gone through this experience of what it would be like to lead a civilization. What would it be like to experience thousands of years of history? What would it be like to create the greatest civilization the world has ever known? And that's the experience that we're trying to create for you. And the more we can remind you, encourage you to take the part of that character, the more powerful the experience is going to be for you. So everything that we do is kind of really wrapped around staying in the fantasy, the fiction, the concept of the game, because we don't want you to kind of pop out of the game. I mean, we've all been through the experience in a movie where we're into it and all of a sudden something happens and we realize, oh, this is just a movie. The more we can get your mind churning about the possibilities, what's going to happen next, how should I handle this situation, the more that you're into that character and the more that you're into the game and it's enjoyable for you. Just quickly, some of the other areas where we introduce kind of real-world elements that strengthen the game and encourage you to learn about different things. You can build great wonders in this game, the ancient wonders, the Colossus, the Oracle, Delphi. You can build the Statue of Liberty, all sorts of cool things that again, you already are familiar with, but you get to build them and have them in your city, the pyramids, things like that. There are great people that may appear, whether it's Einstein or the Wright brothers or people like that kind of are not just there as trophies, but they actually help you do certain things. A certain scientist might increase the amount of science that's generated by a city. Another character might increase the amount of culture that a city produces. And there truly are, we don't have really time to go through it, but there truly are multiple paths to go down. That it's not a game about necessarily conquering the world. Well, that's one path you can go down. But there's a technology path. If you can create the greatest technology, build that spaceship that we saw earlier and colonize Alpha Centauri, that's another way of winning the game. There's a cultural way of winning the game. If you develop a powerful culture, that actually causes other cities to join your civilization peacefully. Your civilization is just so cool, and theirs is so lame that they want to join you. So there's a cultural way to win the game. There's also an economic way to win the game. If you can amass enough money, then you can win the game economically. And typically, there are 4 other civilizations out there in this game. We haven't run into them yet, but they're all competing with you. They're all racing with you to these final victory conditions. So as you uncover them and interact with them, you're constantly having to decide, how am I going to deal with this? Do I have a stronger army than this civilization over here? Maybe I should kind of take one of their cities. No, they're too powerful. Maybe culture is a way to kind of win my competition with them. But there's a strong competitive element as the game proceeds that, again, sharpens all the decisions that you make, draws you more and more into this character, and makes all the things that you do more important, and makes it, again, more important for you to understand these concepts that the game uses and learn more about the game and therefore some real-world concepts. So kind of an overview, I think, of how we approach gaming, I think, in a way that one, makes the game fun for the player, but also introduces the fun of learning in many ways to enhance the game experience. And we think that's a powerful combination, that when you're having fun, when you're making your own decisions, when you're empowered, and you're learning at the same time, it's really a win-win as far as the player is concerned. And it's kind of the approach that we take to gaming and a lot of the thinking that goes into design and putting these games together. Obviously, there's a huge team of people that do this work. I mean, the artists, you can see their work pretty clearly on the screen. But there's sound people that create music and sound effects and the voices for the characters. And there's a whole online component to this game. You can play over the internet with other players. So there's a lot of technology that goes into making a game like this. But there's also a large audience for these kind of games. I mean, we know that not only kids, but also adults are playing more and more playing video games. And it's something that's really just arisen in the last 15 or 20 years. But it is a powerful form of entertainment, but it's really becoming part of our popular culture. And if we can use that to introduce some positive ideas and some learning, so much the better. So I wanted to leave a little time for questions. So that concludes my presentation.